Welcome to the Divinely Sovereign podcast. My name is Senna, and today we have Beck Martin. And first of all, Divinely Sovereign is a podcast, and it's also a sacred sisterhood, a divine reclamation of standing into your sovereignty. It's finding creativity, your expression, your channel, and really reclaiming and calling all of your power back. So right now we have the temple path that's open, and then coming in January 2026, we're going to have the sovereign path open its doors. So first and foremost, I am so excited to welcome you to Becca Martin, and I'm going to read her intro real quick. So, Beck is a human design guide, breathwork facilitator, and hypnotherapy practitioner who helps people come home to themselves. Her work weaves intuitive healing with grounded, embodied transformation, supporting clients as they release old stories, reconnect to their truth, and step into the lives they were designed to live. As a manifesting generator, she brings depth, honesty, and a little spark of fire to everything she teaches. Her sessions blend the wisdom of the body, the power of the breath, and the insight of human design to help people understand who they are at their core and what has been blocking their fullest expression. Whether she's guiding someone through breath work, supporting subconscious healing through hypnotherapy, or translating the language of a human design chart, Beck's work reminds people that they were never meant to shrink, suppress themselves, or carry pain alone. She helps them release what isn't theirs, embody what truly is, and rise as their most authentic, liberated selves. I would love to welcome you, Beck Martin. Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we're going to be talking about human design today and getting some um, people like getting to get the one-on-one, kind of dip their toes into the water, learn more. And also, I'm so excited to hear your specific transmission around this and your fiery passion behind it.
Yeah, it's definitely been something that has changed my life for sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, let's jump right in. Can you share a little bit about who you are and the path that led you to human design?
Yes. So, for starters, I am a mom of five and I live in a little town in Arizona and I am married to my high school sweetheart. Um, and I am a multi-passionate person about lots of things. As a manifesting generator, like Senna and I were just talking before she hit record, I have lots of pots on the stove because I can't just pick one thing. Um, and I would say that probably human design was the thing that liberated me the most in that because it's not that I was raised that way, but I kind of always thought like, why can't you just pick one thing? And I've actually had people tell me that, like, why can't you just pick one thing? Just do one thing. Be good at one thing. But that's not my design. That is not what I am designed to do or who I am designed to be. So when I say human design changed my life, um, it was very liberating to learn about myself through human design when it found me. Because I didn't find it, it found me.
Yeah. I want to hear a little bit more about that story. How did human design find you?
Yeah, so it's been it's been almost 3 years now, but I used to own a coffee shop. So I had a business partner and we opened a coffee shop here in town. And I was the manager, the baker, the barista, all the things. I wore all the hats, which very true to my manifesting generator self, but I didn't know that that's who I was yet. But that's just who I've always been. Like I've always been able to just have many different things going on at once. I'm a really good multitasker. Um, and so it made sense. Like there were difficult times, of course, but when human design found me, our I had hired one of my friends to be our baker because as we were growing, it just got to be too much and I couldn't wear all the hats. It was a lot. But she was on family vacation. I actually want to say it was around this time of year because she was on family vacation for fall break during Thanksgiving. So, like, we're like right at that timeline again. That's crazy. And so I was the baker for the week because she was out of town, but we still had things we needed to get done. So I was back in the bakery with my headset on, listening to a podcast. I've tried to trace this back a million times and I cannot for the life of me. But I was listening to a podcast that I listened to multiple times, and the guest that they had on their podcast was talking about human design. And I was like, "Wait, what is this magic that you are talking about?" And that was where my interest was totally piqued, and I dove in headfirst down the rabbit hole, and I have been in the rabbit hole ever since. It's been 5 years. So
Wow.
it was 20, let's see, yeah, 2020,
Cool.
November 20. So
And so human design has like really taken off in really just the past like three,
yeah,
4 years is like probably when I've maybe first started to get glimmers of it. So yeah, it's cool. You're actually one of the trailheads of this.
I had never heard of it before. And when she started talking, I was just like, wait, what? This is so amazing. Um, and very true to my 1-3, which is the one of the profiles in human design, and we'll touch on that later, Sana and I will.
Yeah.
But a 1 is someone who just when something piques their interest, they dive in headfirst and they want to know all the things. And I feel like that has never stopped for me with human design because the more popularity it gains, the more people, I want to say, maybe interpret it a different way, or they have their own opinion on it, or that how it like has taught them. There's just more and more and more and more within the system to keep deep diving into. And human design is such a complex, not to scare people away because it can be simplified, but there are so many different pieces to human design that I don't know all of them. And so it's been fun for me to like learn something and then put it into practice, or learn something and then I'll look up my kids' charts and be like, ooh, that sounds interesting. I wonder which one of my kids has that. And I'll go back to their chart and realize, like, oh, 3 of them have that, or 2 of them have that, or whatever. And then I can start to see how it shows up in the way my kids operate, the way my husband operates, the way I operate. Like, it's just one of those things that I just keep learning and adding more and more layers of the human design puzzle. Like, it's definitely not a complete puzzle on my table right now. There's
Yeah.
pieces everywhere, and I just keep collecting them and putting them together. So,
Yeah. I mean, I really it was so we met through Sacred Rebels, which was ran by and founded by Sadie Jane out of Utah, and that was the first time that I learned about human design and in real quickly side tangent. So in Sacred Rebels, that's the home of the elemental life coaching certification that both of us have done the requirements for and stuff, and one of the things that lit me up so much was learning about human design. And it was in the module of water, which is your unique blueprint and your codes. And it's like understanding that every single person has this blueprint. It's kind of like people have fingerprints, right? No two are the exact same. Like even if you have super close, even like an identical twin, right? Like you still don't have the same, quite the same blueprint, quite
a
this.
little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to share a little bit about how this has helped me too in a bit. But it's it's one of those things that like I'm still a complete novice, even though like I've been starting to work with my type and understanding my strategy and my authority, which we'll talk on as well here today. And finding that it's been so profound in my life. And I'm so grateful to have this knowledge, but also there's a bit of this overwhelm where I'm like, because I too am like a researcher and I love to know and I love to get into it, but I've had to back out a bit because I'm like, there is so much. There is
Mhm.
so much here, and it's similar to it's completely different from astrology, but similar to astrology in the sense that like it can take a lifetime. A
Yeah.
person that really studies astrology, like it takes a lifetime and you still don't fully understand all the complexities and the dynamics that are present. And also, yeah, I hear the, as it's kind of trended and stuff, there's different interpretations and people's takes and stuff on it that are kind of coming to light and stuff too. So, yeah, it's definitely great to get your chart read by someone that's been doing this for a while.
Yeah, and I'm like you where I will get overwhelmed with it, but it keeps calling to me and like pulling me back in. So I don't think it's something that I'll never not practice. And it's funny because my kids will bring their friends home and be like, "You should tell my mom your birthday so that she can read your." And their friends are like, "What the heck?" And I guess I've just claimed it now, but my daughter mostly to her friends has been like, "Yeah, my mom's a witch." And I'm like, "Okay, can we clarify what that means, please?" Like, because in my community, it's predominantly Christian and LDS.
Yeah.
I'm like, you say witch, and people are like, "What?" And what? So I'm like, can you like explain that a little more to your friends instead of just calling me a witch? And she's like, well, do you want me to call you like a green witch or like a human design witch or like, so anyways, I
You're
think
magical.
I
You're
know.
magical.
I think I've kind of just, we just claim it now, but it's really fun that I have been able to teach my kids enough about their charts as teenagers that it fascinates them enough that they want their friends to know about
Yeah.
themselves. So,
That's cool. That's a win, mama.
yeah,
That's
a
super cool.
huge win.
So okay, I'm gonna ask another question. So how has human design changed the way you live and move through the world? Let's get a little bit more about your story before we start jumping into the foundations.
Okay. So, um, like I said before, I haven't been with that coffee shop for 3 years now. And I know that human design came into my life when it did because it gave me the power and the empowerment, I guess I should say, not power. It gave me the empowerment that I needed to step away from something I had created because learning about being a manifesting generator and how as a manifesting generator, you're not meant to stay in something. You are meant to like create something, maybe create some systems around it, come in, create it, do the thing, and then pivot and jump out of it. That doesn't mean that it always necessarily happens fast. Sometimes it can be like a 10-year thing that you stay in, but manifesting generators are meant to pivot and move from thing to thing to thing to thing. And for the longest time, I would beat myself up about that of just, I could never stick with one thing. Like if I named you the jobs that I've had since I entered the workforce, it's insane. And it would seem really chaotic from the outside looking in. But that also ties into my profile because as a type 3, my life is all about experiences. And so not only am I manifesting generator jumping from thing to thing to thing, but as a line 3, I just want to experience all the things. And the only way for me to do that is to try different things and do different things throughout my lifetime. Because my knowledge comes from my own life experience, my lived in experience. And so, really, human design is the thing that empowered me to say, yes, I'm walking away from this business that I created and put so much of my heart into, but it's not a failure.
Yeah.
I'm not walking away because I failed at something. And it's been able to help me look at life as nothing is ever a failure. I don't fail. I try new things. And if I'm walking away, it's because it's not in alignment for me anymore. So
Yes.
even though I knew I'd be judged for like starting something and then like jumping to something else and jumping to something else, like that's what's authentic to me. And when we step into our authenticity, we can't help but be loved by those that are meant to be in our aura. So,
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I hear just a greater sense of acceptance, self-acceptance. And I think that's something that's so profound with knowing your design and knowing your blueprint is like is those little nuances in your life where you thought maybe you had shame or like someone told you need to be this certain way or you're encoded with this, someone else's projections and you're like this is my not self. This is not who I am. And so yeah, a greater sense of self-confidence as well. Yeah. I personally I love how you also brought in the piece of like human design found you in that time and it was the perfect timing. I feel like human design found me in the perfect timing too, because if I had read my chart 5+ years ago, I would have thought I was a manifesting generator.
mhm.
I wouldn't have been ready to learn that I was a projector, a self-projected projector with that. But that's been profound for me too, of getting to learn like, oh, that's why I'm so fucking tired all the time.
Because you're not living as a projector.
And I'm like, that's why, yeah, I'm not living as a projector. I'm not giving myself time to rest and turn inward and like listen to my own inner voice and listen to my own inner truth and what wants to be moved through me versus like I've I have a long history of trying to uh meet the expectations of others for validation or performance or whatever. It's the productive, successful paradigm that I was running down and wearing myself out ragged and just really not living my most authentic aligned self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That expectation piece that you just said. I actually had some customers that would come in almost daily, and I haven't seen them since I walked away from that business. And I just saw them the other day at the grocery store, and they were like, "You've lost weight." And I'm like, I think like the number on the scale, I'm pretty sure is the same. And they're like, "Really? You look like you've lost weight." And I'm like, "It's called losing the weight of other people's expectations." And they're like, "Whoa." I'm like, "No, I'm serious." Like when you when you align with your true authentic self, and yes, it's still hard, like easier said than done, right? To just be your authentic self and not worry about what everyone else is projecting on you or judging you, because I still had that even when I walked away from the business. That's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I just kept coming back to myself of it's okay. You didn't fail. You walked away because it wasn't in alignment. And I fought myself on that for 8 months. I
Mm.
stayed 8 months longer than I should have. And the way my body started to like break down and get sick because I wasn't in alignment. But again, I'm a line three. I need to learn those things. So that was a lesson for me of like, when we don't listen to our body, this is what happens. When we're not in alignment, this is what happens. But it still is the thing that gave me the empowerment to eventually step away and say, this is not meant for me anymore. It's not in alignment, and I'm going to choose a different path.
Yeah. Wow. Um, so let's dive into some of the foundations. So for someone completely new, how would you describe human design in the simplest way?
Oh, that's a tough one. Let's see. The simplest way to describe human design. I think you said it great earlier when you said that it's basically a blueprint and it's something that you can look at. And the thing that I love about human design is it never changes because your blueprint, part of it was created. This is where it gets a little complex, but part of it was created when you were still in the womb. The way that, yes, the way that the planets were aligned. And then the rest of it is the other part of it, the blueprint comes when you take your first breath. So, like when the doctors are like, okay, this is the time you were born, which we don't go by seconds when we say like time of birth, right? Like we don't do the seconds. But if you did that, you would even get it down to more nuances that would be in your chart if doctors started saying like the time and the seconds that are on the clock when a baby is born. So, the way that is figured out,
You're gonna get great faces from me.
I love this.
To the
I
people that are only
was like,
listening in
wait,
audio,
did she
you're
freeze?
missing this dumbfounded voice. Yeah, did she freeze?
No, she's still there.
I'm
She's
like,
still there.
what? I didn't know this.
So if you look at the two sides of the chart, and and hopefully I'm not confusing your readers, but there's two different sides of the chart with the numbers that go down the side. The red side, because I like to think of the reds, there's like red and black.
Yeah.
Red is blood. Like think of it as the blood. That side is what is created when you are still in the womb. Those are imprinted into your blueprint when you're still in the womb. The other side is created when you take your first breath. So that is your personality side. The other side is your body. So you have a body side and a personality side. So body is what happens. It's, or you can say conscious and unconscious, like whatever way you want to look at it. It's both. But the unconscious side just happens when we're not thinking about it. It's just our being. It's just who we are. Our personality side is we notice it a little more, and so do other people because it's our outward expression of our human design.
Wow, I'm already learning so much here.
So
That's so cool.
that complicated it. That did not answer your question. The simplest way to explain human design is that it is a blueprint for your life. And if you can even take the three simplest things, and I'm going to break that down for your listeners so that if they are brand new to human design, they can take three things that they learned from their own chart just by looking at it and start practicing those. Don't worry about all the numbers. Don't worry about all the open centers, the closed centers, because it gets really complicated, as you know.
Yeah.
But if you can follow these three things when you first look at your chart, it will, I'm telling you, it'll make a world of a difference. Like you learning that you are a projector and not a generator type,
Yeah.
there's a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
Huge difference. So it's a blueprint for your life. And what I was saying before is I love that it never changes. It doesn't change. It stays that way always. Because I've read charts for people and they're like, well, what if I learn this and I start to like implement it into my life and then it changes? And I'm like, it will never change. It is what I'm reading to you will stay that way for the rest of your life. So it's something that you can follow for the rest of your life. And once you start implementing it into your life, you can keep practicing it and it's just going to get better and better.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Sorry to
So
blow your
yeah, thank you for blowing my mind. Um, let's talk a little bit about like where did human design originate from, the lineage or the synthesis of other systems.
Okay, so this is a wild story, but I love it.
Yeah.
So Rahu is, I wouldn't say some people call him the founder. I don't know that I would call him, he's the one that the guides and the spirits came to and said, look, here's this system. We need you to put it all together so that people can understand it. So that's not his actual name. What did we looked up his actual name? Is it
Alan Robert Krakauer?
Yeah, Alan Robert. So his given name in the spiritual community is Rahu, and he's not with us anymore. He passed. But in the 80s, he went, I'm trying to think where he went. Like, I want to say Peru, somewhere like that, on like a spiritual journey. And basically, for 8 days, just had download after download after download after download of this system and was able to put what we now call human design into this pretty little package, what we know of it now.
Wow.
But it comes from the Chinese I Ching,
Hmm.
astrology, um, chakra system. What's the other two?
Kabbalah and then
Kabbalah.
quantum physics.
Yes, and quantum physics.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, it's very woo, just like astrology. And I'm like, no, there's quantum physics in it. Like, it's actually, there's logical explanations to it.
Yeah.
There's a very logical way to explain human design. And once you start putting it into practice, like, it's kind of one of those things once you know, you can't unknow.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, what are some common misconceptions or misunderstandings about it?
How woo it is. I would
Yeah.
say that's when people are like, oh, human design chart. When I say chart reading,
Hmm.
if they're not already interested in astrology, I think their brain just goes to like the stars. But even astrology has been proven to be so logical and like there's so many explanations for the way people feel. Like think about right now and all that the planets are going through today and how people feel. I had a friend this morning we were on Marco Polo and she said she went to her gym class and all the women around her were like, "Oh, I'm just so tired today and I don't know why." And she wanted to scream, the planets." Like we're in retrograde right now. It affects our body. It affects so much of our soul, our body, our the way we move, the way our moods are, our thinking, like everything. It's not woo. There's definitely a science to it.
Yep. I agree.
So human design is the same way. There's definitely a science to it. Um, I don't ask me because that's not I love the woo side of it. I have heard the scientific side of it, but that's not what my soul wanted to grasp onto. And so it's not something I retained when I learned about human design. I've heard about it and it definitely makes sense to me, but it's not something I can like reteach because it's not what I grasped onto when I learned about it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Um, so let's dive into the blueprint and the types, the strategy, the authority. So what are the five energy types?
Okay, so we have two generator types. There's a generator, and then there's a manifesting generator. Then we have a manifester. So as you can tell, the manifesting generator is kind of a hybrid of the generator and the manifesting manifester. And then we have a projector, which Senna is a projector, and then we have a reflector. And I think it's 70% of the world is the generator type. So they're either a generator or a manifesting generator. And then from there, the percentages just get smaller and smaller. I think it's 9% are manifestors, seven, let's see. Don't do the math because it may not add up. 9% is manifestors, 6 or 7% is projectors, and then only 2% of the world are reflectors.
Yeah.
Don't
Wow.
do the
Okay. I didn't know that projectors were that low.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're pretty rare.
Um, I think before we start talking about strategy or authority, do you want to like we could pretend like we're on like a, the dating game show and we have this one, this one, this one. You want to just give a
Yes.
quick little
Let's talk
synopsis?
about what we call in human design, we call it your aura as
Oh,
those.
okay. Perfect. Yeah.
So as a generator, the generator types, and there are, when I first learned about it, when I learned that I was a manifesting generator, I was like, oh, that's kind of boring. I'm like really common. Yay. I want to be rare, but there are nuances that make me rare. So that's where it comes in. So generator types are like the they when I learned about it, they called them the workhorses of the five types. And it mostly just means that they generate their own energy. They have, so when we talk about the system of human design, the centers, there's certain centers. Maybe you can post a link to a chart in your description so that
Yes, I
people
will.
or someone can just Google a human design chart so that they know what we're talking about. I should have had like visuals, like a chalkboard behind me. Anyways, um, so when we talk about the centers within the human design chart, there are certain centers that generate energy. And as a generator type, meaning you're either a generator or a manifesting generator, one that the center that generates the energy, you have to have that center defined to be a generator type. Does that make sense, or was that clear as mud?
Mhm, mhm.
So if you're a generator type, you will have that center defined because that is what generates the energy. And because those generator types, generator and manifesting generator, have that energy, they have constant access to it, they draw other people in. Because the other types that don't have that constant energy feel magnetized to those generator types
Oh,
because it helps light up your center that is not defined with that constant energy.
wow.
I love you.
I love you too.
Your faces and your I'm like, this is fun. How else can we surprise Senna today? I love it.
Well, things are clicking for me because like yeah, that really helps. I have an inner voice too that's just like kind of irritated about how easy it gets to be for generators to manifest generators.
I wanted to be a projector, Senna, so listen, listen. When I learned about projectors, I was like, I want to be the wise one. Why do I gotta be the one that just like makes energy for other people? Yay. No. There were definitely some things I had to work through when I learned about my type, and we can talk about that more later. But
Okay.
so if you're a generator type, generator and manifesting generator, your aura is very magnetizing to other people and it just pulls people in. Think of like a warm hug. It's just like, "Oh, come in and be friends with me." And so you just magnetize and pull people in because you have that constant energy that's flowing.
Yeah, I
But
penetrate you.
you what? Yes. We're going to talk about Senna next. Um, but that is not to be mistaken as you constantly have energy to do things, because I think that's where the misconception about generator types come in, is that like, oh, you're the workhorse, you have energy, just do the thing. But we only have the energy for what lights us up.
Yes.
If we are doing something that is not meant for us, like me talking about my body breaking down, it was not in alignment for me anymore. When it was, I had all the energy in the world. I would like work a full day as a barista, go home, like close shop, go home at 7:30 at night, and be back at 2:30 in the morning to start baking cinnamon rolls because
Wow.
it was in alignment. I had the energy to keep doing that. But when it was no longer in alignment for me, I started to crash hard. So, manifesting generators can almost have a harder crash and a harder burnout than any other type because they just go, 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 go. And when it's not in alignment anymore, if they don't realize it, they will crash and burn very fast
Yeah.
and get sick. Like it's like your body just can't do it anymore, and your body will start to break down because it doesn't have the energy, and you're forcing it to have the energy to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So their burnout is almost worse than any other type when they're not in alignment.
Noted.
Okay, let's talk about Senna's aura.
Projector.
Projectors. So the way I like to think of a projector's aura is very like penetrating. It's like your aura starts here and it zooms in. It like penetrates. And a lot of people will because projectors see what other people can't see. It's almost like they have this like other sense of like they can see people for who they really are when people can't even see themselves. And if you are out of alignment, or like a projector's aura can feel very, very, very penetrating if you're not willing to be seen. For one, if you're not willing to be seen by yourself, but then of course you don't want someone else who can like literally see into your soul, see you. It feels very like, stop looking at me. So that's the projector aura. And I feel like as projectors, because I have a lot of projectors in my life, if you don't know that about yourself, and then you learn that about yourself, you can go back in your life and think of the times that you showed up in a group setting, maybe, and everyone's like gathered and talking, and you walk in the room and everyone scatters. And you're like, what did I say? What did I do? You didn't do anything. You're a projector.
Whoa, I'm gonna totally notice that now. I'm gonna interesting.
Yeah. A lot of times, I mean, not that they can't be in a group setting, but a lot of times projectors do a lot better with like one-on-one or a smaller group versus a big group
Yeah.
because it's really overwhelming to walk in and see all the things that you see when you're a projector
Yeah. No, this is true. And
and try to
the reason why
process.
I get pretty tired quickly is because it's like it's how do I say this? Like my brain split into two things. Like I can feel and sense others, and it's not like I intend to do it. It's not that I intentionally do it. It's not that I am crossing energetic boundaries, like, and I'm not a boundaried person. It's it's that I can feel and I can sense and I can see like into a room or with lots of people, and it can be really exhausting for me
Yeah,
because and
right.
then, like usually when I come home after a big event or a long weekend or a festival of some sort, this is also why I've learned that I like to sell my art online versus being at like markets in person often. Um, is because yeah, I need that time to like clear out everyone else's energy that kind
Mhm.
of lingers a bit, and then so that I can get clear on my own field. And it took me a very long time to know that about myself.
And to
It
be okay with it. Because we just push ourselves to like be in those social gatherings. It's like that's what everyone else is doing.
yeah,
What's wrong with me? Why can't I do that? You know?
exactly. It honestly wasn't until the pandemic when we had the lockdown, we were forced inside, that actually I thrived.
Yeah.
And
You
I
would probably,
found that out.
oh, I feel so much better. Why do I feel better? This is weird.
Yeah, because my circle got smaller, And
Hmm.
then like the one-on-ones and the deeper like relationships I got to have, um, like that was profound for me. And the spaciousness that I had and the quiet in my aura in my field, like I got to be really clear on who I was. And so yeah,
And you're self-projected. So like we'll talk about this in a little bit, but you learning how to make decisions really depends on yourself, not everyone else's opinion. And if you're listening to everyone else's opinions, it's not correct for you.
exactly.
You might need
Exactly.
a sounding board, but you don't need their opinion. You just need a person, a body, basically, to talk to.
Yep.
And as you're talking, you're like, oh, like that's where the self-projected projector comes in. So,
Yep. I even have to send myself voice messages
mhm.
just to like hear myself talk because I will, part of what that means is that I find my truth in my speaking. Also in what I can't speak, which is interesting. Like sometimes like if I can't say something, it's because it's not true, which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be spoken for you to have the realization most of the time.
Yeah. So what about reflectors? Do they have uh
So reflectors are mirrors. So their aura is exactly like their type says. They are the mirror types where they are here to mirror back to us our true self. And what's really cool about a reflector, and I've only met one reflector in person, and I totally see this about her because they're so rare. We call them the unicorns of human design. At least
Mhm.
I do.
Mhm.
Um, but they're here to reflect back to people their true self. And they like their decision making is a full moon cycle. So 28 days. We'll talk more about that in depth, but they really get to experience all of the types. They get to experience what it's like to be a generator, a manifesting generator, a projector, and a manifester, like because of the moon cycle and the way it works for them.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that piece where they get to kind of experience each of them. That's cool. That makes sense.
Yeah, so there's a website online. I'll just say this in case you have any reflectors listening.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't know they're a reflector yet, but hopefully this will stick for someone that needs to hear it. There's several websites online where you can look up the transits. Remember how we talked about astrology as part of human design? So like there's transits with human design, and you can look up where the transits are. And for someone who's a reflector, this is really important because that will change who you are that day. That will change how you make decisions that day because it will change. Are you still a reflector or are you a manifester today? Like it changes with every day where the transits are at and which gate of human design we are in. We're getting into like complicated stuff, but if you're a reflector and you know that, please research that part because that could be a game changer for you, knowing where the transits are every single day.
Wow.
If you're not, don't worry about it. Disregard what I just said if you're not a reflector. But
Wow, that is very cool. Okay, thank you.
welcome. So,
Um,
last one is manifester, unless you have more questions about
nope, nope,
reflector.
nope. Yep, keep going. Manifester.
Okay. Manifestors are, this was wild to me when I learned my kids' charts because manifestors are kind of rare, right? My three oldest children are all manifestors. Yes, it's crazy. But as I learned about manifestors, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. So, manifestors, their aura is kind of like a wall. Like they just put up this wall. But also, the way I've explained it to my daughter, because she's like, Mom, I'll walk into a room and everyone just like stares at me. And I'm like, do I have like food on my face? Like, do I have a booger in my nose? Like, what is happening? And I'm like, sis, it's like that car accident that you drive by and you can't look away. Like you see a manifester and you're like, I see you, but I don't see you. It's kind of like this, they're kind of off-putting sometimes, manifestor aura.
Yeah.
You think about the manifestors in your life, they kind of have this like wall that they put up of like, don't see me, but you can't help but see a manifestor. They just, the way they show up.
Oh,
So
that's
their aura is kind of blocking. And they kind of just have this like, don't fuck with me attitude. That's
yeah.
a man. And I say that in a very loving way because I have three of them in my household. And also I am part manifester and I can see myself when when that aura shows up more than my generator aura of like, don't fuck with me
Yeah.
here, but like boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that one's been hard for I would say it's been the most hard for my daughter because she wants to be social and it's hard for her because she's like, why don't people like me? And I'm like, it's not the aura, but I feel like manifestors probably have the hardest time out of all the types making friends
Oh,
because of their aura. Because it feels so off-putting, and unless you really know that person. But the way I explained it to my daughter was, sis, your aura is filtering people out of your life before you can decide if they need to be there or not. So let it.
yeah.
Because not is meant for you as a manifester. I mean, that's how all of the types are. Like, not everyone is meant for us, right? But I think it's hard for her because she sees myself and her younger brother just like pulling people in because we're that generator type. And she wants that because she's a teenage girl. But at the same time, her aura is like blocking people and weeding people out before she can even try to make friends with them.
Yeah.
So that's the manifestor aura.
Got it. Cool. Okay. Thank you.
People
Um,
either like them or completely dislike them.
yeah.
There's no in between.
Okay. So let's move over to, let's see, should we talk about strategy naturally or authority? Which one makes most sense?
Let's talk about strategy because that is there's a specific one for each type. And then
Perfect.
when you get into authority, it can change. Like a manifesting generator, there's several possibilities for authority.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
Okay.
strategy. So, strategy for a generator and generator type. Manifesting generators kind of have two. Let's talk about generator first, though. Theirs is to respond. So it's responding to what life is giving you, whether that's because you're scrolling your phone and you see something on Instagram and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a good idea. I want to do that. Or what you see gives you a trailhead to respond to something else. Like maybe it just sparks an idea in your head and it's not that you're copying what you saw, but it's like leading you somewhere else. So like for me, like when we talked about doing this podcast, she was like, I'll just ask you questions. And I'm like, no, that's perfect because as a generator type, need something to respond to. So you ask me a question and it just like falls out of me. And it's crazy because I will learn things and forget that I learned them until someone asks the question and then it just comes out of me. And I've left places before going, holy crap, how did I know that? I I picked it up somewhere, but
Yeah.
I don't remember that I know that until someone asks the question and then I'm responding. So my body is just responding to what it's been given, whether that's I mean, you don't necessarily because when I first learned it, I was like, so I have to like be out with people all the time to respond to things, and it's not necessarily that I need to be around people to respond. Yes, I need to put myself in places to respond, but it's just responding to what life is bringing to me,
Yeah.
whether that's through meditation, whether that's through breath work, scrolling on my phone, reading an email that sparked something in me, looking through a magazine, like going on a walk. Like if you think about it, we're constantly responding anyways.
Hmm.
So that's the strategy for a generator is to respond.
Okay. And this is this also the same for a manifesting generator?
So manifesting generator has to respond, and then the other part of theirs. So I'll talk about manifestors now because this one is just for manifestors, is to inform.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I have loved teaching my kids this one, and I've loved this one as a parent because a lot of times when adults are learning about human design and they hear as a manifestor that they need to inform, they're like, but why am I asking someone else for permission? I'm a grown-ass adult. And so I've even started to teach my kids this of like, I'm your guide and your parent, but I'm not the boss of you. And I don't need you to tell me something so I can tell you yes or no. I just need to know where you're at when you're going to be home. And I know that's not the like norm for parenting, but all three of my manifestors right now are teenagers. I just had one move out 2 weeks ago. That's been I'm so glad. Like maybe I'll talk about this in a little bit of how I've used parenting for human design, but like I'm so glad to have the knowledge that I do because I don't think my oldest son and I would have the relationship we have if I didn't know his human design chart. He
Oh,
would have been a kid that we just like kept butting up against each other. But because I have human design, I was able to parent him in a way that he needed to be parented because of his chart.
yeah,
So,
that's huge.
so I just keep teaching my kids, like, it's not that I need you to text me and tell me, hey, mom, can I do this? Don't ask me. Tell me what you're doing. I just need to be informed. That's it. So as a manifestor's job, it's as a manifestor, it's their job to inform the people around them and the people that their decisions are going to directly affect. Not to ask for permission, but to just let people know this is their next move.
So I have a manifestor generator son.
Okay.
Is he under the manifestor umbrella or is he more of is
He's
he
both.
he's both?
So respond and inform.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
So then if because yeah, okay, oh man. Because yeah, sometimes he says that he's doing something and yeah, he informs me, but I like for example, like we don't usually have screens on weekdays, but then on weekends, like when mom's sleeping in on a Saturday because she's tired and she wants to have a slow morning, he
He's a
gets to
projector.
wake up in the morning. But the night before, he'll tell me like I'm gonna watch TV in the morning and I'm gonna watch my Minecraft videos on my YouTube. And I'm like, for me, I think like, okay, is he asking me? Like, is he demanding this? Do I say yes? Do I say no? But he's just trying to inform me in that moment, isn't he?
Yep.
Okay. So I
I,
think I've misinterpreted that as like excuse me, sir, who do you think the parent is?
yeah. No, my 10-year-old will do the same thing, and it used to kind of like not bug me, but like he would be in the living room doing something. I would be in my bedroom folding laundry, and he'd poke his head in the door and be like, "Hey, mom, I'm going upstairs to go to the bathroom." And I'm like, "Cool. Go to the bathroom." Like, why are you telling me? And that's even when I knew human design. And then I was like, "Oh, okay." Kids are so they're not they're not conditioned yet. And so him informing you is doing exactly what he's meant to do. We don't fall out of the ways of our natural blueprint until someone conditions us to fall out of the natural ways of our blueprint. Like, I'm sure I was super, super happy as a 5-year-old doing all the things that I wanted to do as a manifesting generator until someone told me, pick one. You can't do this one until you clean up the mess from that one. Well, what if I'm not actually done with that one and I want to jump back and forth between the two?
Yeah.
So then I started getting conditioned, whether it was school or a friend's house, because that's how their rules were, or my parents, because they didn't know better. But I started to get conditioned of like, we can't just jump from one thing to the next. That's not what we do. We clean up one mess before we start a second mess. That's
Yeah.
not how my house is now. I have projects all over the place. When I'm done with the project, it'll get put away, or it'll get put away and I'll come back to it. But like, we get conditioned out of these things. So to know that our two boys are informing us, they haven't been conditioned out of that yet. And I don't want to be the one to condition them out of that. So
Yeah.
even though sometimes I'm like, cool, dude, go to the bathroom. He's informing me. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing by telling me what his next move is. And I've asked him sometimes, like, why do you tell me that? Just curious, like how his brain is interpreting it. And he's like, well, what if you came out of your room and I wasn't in the living room anymore? You wouldn't know where I was. So he's
Oh.
telling the people that it's going to affect his decision that he's making. Mom, I'm going upstairs to go to the bathroom. So he's already like thought steps ahead of like, I need to tell the people that this decision is going to affect. I'm gonna go tell my mom. I'm gonna be upstairs. Okay.
Oh, you have no idea how much this is helping. It
It
sounds so
sounds Senna
simple.
needs some reading.
Yeah. I wow. Okay, so then just I have one more question because this is for the Manny Gen as well. So they have both respond and inform. So then, like for the respond, would it be helpful as a parent to ask him questions about making decisions?
Yes. So I'm glad you asked because this was my next thing I was going to say about manifesting generators and generators. Because of the way, well, this actually has to do with authority too. But I think it's helpful because if you are a generator type generator or a manifesting generator, excuse me, your sacral is defined in your chart.
Yeah.
Means you do best with yes or no questions. So if you ask me, hey, what do you want to talk about today? I'm like, that's so broad, so broad. But
Yeah.
where you're like, hey, do you like if you were to ask me, do you want to talk about human design today or do you want to talk about breath work? I have an answer for you because it's a this or that or a yes or a no. So this sounds dumb, but even learning that and putting that into action with my husband when I'm like, hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? I can't ask him what he wants for dinner. Like, he doesn't know. But then if I'm like, do you want tacos or spaghetti? He's like, neither one. Okay, well, then I'm going to give him two more options and he can say yes or no, or it's a this or that.
Yeah.
So that's been super helpful. That goes more into authority, which we can
Yeah.
touch on authorities, but um, it's easier for them to respond when they have the first the idea or the yes or no or the this or that accompanied with how are we going to respond to this?
Cool. That helps. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Welcome.
Okay, so we have projector and reflectors for strategy as well.
So I'm trying to think of the terminology. Sorry, it's been a long week.
No
Senna and I
worries.
talked about this, so I'm gonna look up um, the actual terminology for. Okay, duh. I knew it would pop up, and I'd be like, "Are you serious?" Okay, projectors are wait for an invitation.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yep.
don't know why that
Yep.
left my brain.
And
Again,
honestly, it was like memory interference because I blinked too, and I'm like, wait, what is it? What is it? No, it's the
I know.
invitation. Duh.
I was thinking of strategy instead of authority. My brain kept like jumping between the two. So, wait for the invitation. So, this one, I feel like for projectors, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you experienced this, but I feel like this one is hard for projectors to like I have to wait for people to invite me. Like that's stupid. That's dumb. Like first, you're not meant to be around people all the time. You have to be in your own aura. But when you're in your own aura and you're in your house, how are you going to get invited to things if you're not around people? Like it's like this double-edged sword of like, well, which is which?
Mm-hmm.
I always call it a cosmic joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like the profile numbers are a cosmic joke because they
Mm-hmm.
like fight against each other. And then sometimes your aura and your strategy feel like a cosmic joke. Like, really? I
Yeah.
have all the energy to do all the things. Why do I gotta wait to respond? Or like I'm supposed to be in my own aura, but I have to wait for the invitation? Well, how am I getting invited if I'm not in other people's aura? Like it's this like game that the cosmos like to play on us.
Yeah.
So I have a friend who this she really struggled with being a projector and waiting for the invitation because she's like, I don't need an invitation to go do something. But the invitation doesn't have to come from someone verbally saying, "Hey, Senna, let's go to lunch tomorrow." It can kind of it's a little bit similar in the wait to respond, where like the universe can invite you to do something by you seeing something on your phone. Like, say you're scrolling Instagram and you get an idea, that's an invitation to
Oh.
make a post about your artwork that day.
Uh-huh.
You know, like, see what I'm saying? So, the invitation doesn't necessarily have to come from a person, it can come to you in several different forms. So, that one gets a little tricky for projectors because they're just like, it's kind of like someone else giving you permission, like a manifester. Like, I have to have
Yeah.
permission. No, you don't. You're informing. I have to
I
have an invitation. I just have to sit around and wait for someone to invite me to do something. No.
I think like one piece of this nuance that I had to sit with and like I'm still in practice with is that like a part of it is in order for that invitation is also it's you need to be seen.
Mhm.
And being seen though is like I feel like it's kind of like the cart before the horse sort of thing. It's like you need to be in your own aura, and instead of like getting all of the messaging and um being so influenced by what other people are doing or what a manifestor generator is doing or what a generator is doing out there. Like instead, like really feeling into like what is moving in me? What is my message? How am I feeling today? What's worked for me? Especially with like the through lines as well too. And I'm a role model martyr, I think, that the 6-3 thing. Um, so yeah, like what has worked for me. And so it's taken some time for me to kind of make the reps kind of with what I'm trying to say is like share more about me, be more visible like online and on my Instagram. Um and so I'm still figuring, this out. But even with my art and like my Oracle deck, for example, it's like I'm kind of putting out like into the world things that have worked for me and I'm allowing myself to be seen. And the most important thing that I've found for myself is that like it has to come from within me and not what I think someone else needs, not what I think someone else wants, not what I know someone else needs. It has to be something truly authentic from me. And then like when that's a pure signal, that's where the invitations come in.
Right.
Like freaking magic. Yeah.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, something else I've learned, like you might have had the invitation to start the group that you're doing right now, or even the podcast. But that's like an invitation to do the thing, but you don't need an invitation to do every podcast after that, right? Like you
Yeah.
got the invitation to start a podcast, and from there you can do episodes whenever you feel you need to do an episode. You don't have to have an invitation for each individual episode. So
Yeah.
it's like the invitations are what led you to the correct opportunities. If you're trying to initiate things, that's not your job. Back to manifestors, it's a manifestor's job to initiate things. If you are initiating things, it's not going to go well for you. You need to wait for the invitation and then you can like, oh, okay, I'm going to build this thing. So it's a little different than you don't need an invitation every time you want to do something. It's just you can kind of blanket that of like, Senna, we need your magic. Can you please? Like that's an invitation, like I need more of your magic. It feels kind of broad, but it's still an invitation. So like what are you going to do with that invitation?
Yeah.
Then you get to decide what you do with that invitation.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but another thing too, like as a projector, because you see what other people don't see. But if you start to give unsolicited advice to someone who didn't ask for your advice, you are wasting your breath. It will fall on deaf ears, or they will become angry with you because they did not ask for your opinion.
Yep. I have become very, very, very attuned to there's like this energetic boundary of sensing what they're able and willing to receive, and also opening up the conversation of consent of like, hey, I'm seeing something, would you like it? And if
Yes.
they and like that was like that's been it. Because like sometimes it's a no, and I'm like, cool, I totally respect that.
Not gonna
Sometimes it's a
waste my
yes.
win.
And then sometimes there's an energy where I'm like, I'm gonna hold this vision for you, but I know it's not the time. And I think that's like one of the most self-care and kind things that we can do for others as
Yeah.
well. Yeah,
And if it's meant to be for them, it will circle back around. You
totally.
you might forget it, but if it's meant for them, it will come back up again in your brain and you'll be like, oh yeah, I needed to tell Beck this. And you can ask me like, "Hey, I've been noticing this pattern when we've been talking. Are you open to me coaching you or giving you a suggestion on this problem that you're having?"
Yeah.
And I can say yes or no.
Yep.
And if I say no, then Senna's like, "Okay, I'm going to save it for another time."
Yep. Exactly.
Instead of wasting your wind and then there being some like misunderstanding, me being upset because you jumped in and told me something I wasn't ready to hear. It's not that I don't need it, it's that I'm not ready to hear it right now.
Oh, yeah, I still have some messages that some people never responded back to because I overstepped. And I'm like, damn it.
But also it's that line three, like you got to learn that through life experience too.
Yep.
So
Yep. Exactly. All right. I don't want to leave out our reflectors. Yeah, what is their strategy?
I'm gonna look up that one too because I wish I knew more about reflectors. I only have one person and a she's not a major presence in my life. And so, okay, this is the correct one. So, remember when we were talking earlier, I was like, I don't want to mix up strategy and authority for a reflector. So, this is their strategy and their authority.
Oh, okay.
It's combined for them because if you were to look at a reflector chart, none of those centers are defined.
That's
It's
right.
completely open. So they don't have an authority. There's no way for them to have a way to make decisions besides their strategy. And their strategy is that full 28 days. So this is where I say it's important if you're a reflector to look at the transits because you could have a center defined during a specific transit. But if you are making a big decision, like say you're a reflector and an opportunity comes up for you to take a new job. Me as a generator type, I'm probably, well, a generator type where my authority is sacral, I'm going to know right away. My body is going to tell me. But it's really important for someone that's a reflector to wait that full 28-day moon cycle
Hmm.
to go through all the authorities basically and try it out and fill into what is the correct decision when they're making a major decision.
So is that just called lunar or is there a specific word for it?
Yeah, it's lunar cycle.
Lunar
Yeah.
cycle. Okay. Cool. All right. Is there anything else you want to name on strategy or should we start talking about authority?
I think we can start talking about authority.
Okay.
And because there are quite a few. Like I said, just because you are like projectors, there's like three different possibilities for a projector, three
Hmm.
different authorities.
Hmm.
So those ones, there's a lot. So I don't skip one. Okay, so there are several different authorities, and different authorities can belong to different types within human design. So, to keep myself on track, I looked them up on my phone because it never fails. I always forget at least one. So, the first one that I want to talk about is emotional authority. So, this is if someone with an emotional authority is not meant to make a decision in the heat of the moment. So it's not like you need to ride, I like to call it you ride the emotional wave. So if you have an emotional authority, you're really meant to sit with yourself and you need to be influenced by your own emotions on what you're trying to decide, not someone else's emotions. Because if it's a big decision, sometimes we can really be influenced by other people's emotions around us, and we're not making a decision based off of self. We're making an emotional decision based off of someone else and the way they feel about the decision or the way we think they're going to feel about the decision.
Yeah.
So that's emotional authority in a nutshell. The next one is sacral authority. So this is what I have. And this one is like if you've ever heard the term listen to your gut, this one is a gut decision. This one is a gut authority. This one comes from your sacral. And it's what we were talking about earlier with the yes or no or the this or that. It's kind of just you get this gut feeling of what you're supposed to do. And it's very like in the moment. I can make a decision like you can give me things and I'll be like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, yes. Like it's very like in the moment. And if I listen to my gut and tune into that, then it's never led me wrong. It's when I start to think about the decision and not listen to my gut that I start to make the wrong decisions, the things that are not in alignment.
Yeah.
Like when I knew I was supposed to walk away from my business, I knew there was just this inner gut feeling of like, you don't belong here anymore. And when I ignored that over and over and over again, my body got sick.
Yeah.
When
So
I started to think about it is when it started to like, I started to spiral. I'm not meant to think about decisions. I'm meant to just make them.
yeah. Real quickly before we go on, I want to just clarify what authority is, and that being the way that you make decisions, like the most aligned way for your blueprint, for your design to make decisions, either, yeah, in the moment or in life and anytime, right?
Yeah. Small decision, big decision, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Your authority will never lead you wrong
Yeah.
if you're in alignment with your authority when you make that decision. So, let's see. So, sacral authority, the only types that can have the sacral authority is a generator or a manifesting generator because it comes from the defined sacral, and that's that energy center that we were talking about, and only a generator type will have that.
Yes.
Okay, splenic authority. Splenic authority is your intuition, and it comes from what it says. It comes from the spleen. So when the spleen is defined, that is your intuition. It doesn't mean that if you don't have a defined spleen, you don't have intuition. That's incorrect. It's a misconception. But that is where your authority will come from. And it is a very like quiet, it will give you your answer. But if you're not listening, it's not going to tell you again. So my daughter is a splenic manifester. So she's a splenic authority as a manifester. And she's like, "Mom, this one's hard because it's very quiet. And if you don't listen, it's like, ah, you didn't listen. Sorry, I'm not gonna tell you again." So it's really important for someone with, I mean, all of us, but especially a splenic authority, to be really in tune to their intuition because that's where their authority will come from, is from that intuition.
Is this one the one that's like that primal, like just knowing, or is that sacral?
Nope, it's a knowing.
Okay.
Um, it is the spleen is the so another like nuance of human design. When it first started, there was only 5 centers, and we now have 9 centers. So it has like, as we've learned more about human design, there has been things that we've been like, oh, okay, but the spleen is the most primal center of the body.
Yeah.
So it's just this inner knowing. You just have this knowing, and people will ask, well, how do you know? I don't know how to tell you I know. I just know. Like
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It's just an inner knowing.
This is
There's
the one that it doesn't give you necessarily words, right? Like so this listening isn't necessarily like you're gonna get a direct like you're gonna journal about it. It's just you're gonna just know. You're gonna like feel it, know it, sort of thing, right?
it's really hard to explain, but I feel like the people that have splenic authority, as they're listening to this, they're going to be like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cool thing about these authorities is because of where it comes from the defined spleen. I'm not a splenic authority, but I have a defined spleen. So I do have access to this. And sometimes I just get this inner knowing. It's not that it's my authority. My inner knowing will come of like, you need to turn left. And I'll be like, but I'm supposed to go right. But okay, I'm going to tune into my intuition. My intuition told me to go left. I'm going to go left. And anytime I have listened to that, it's never steered me wrong. And it's like I said, it's not in decision making. It's just in like um keeping myself out of danger or whatever it is. Anytime I have not listened to that, I've been like, oh crap, I did it again. I knew I shouldn't have done that, and I did it anyways.
Yeah.
Like as simple as one time I was pulling out of the driveway in my car and I got this inner knowing of like, if you drive this car to the grocery store, it's gonna break down. And I'm like, that's silly. That's so dumb. I drove it to the grocery store. I made it inside, got all my groceries loaded in the car, came out to my car, started the car, and it wouldn't start. And I was like, shit, damn hell. I should have listened. And I didn't. And look where we are. Like, again, line 3, I have to learn. But it's just this, you can't explain where it's coming from.
Yeah.
just an inner knowing. So, but that one's kind of hard to tune into.
Yep.
Okay, the next one is ego authority. So this comes from the heart center. And this one is Sadie has this one. Did you
Yep.
know that?
Yep.
Yeah. So it involves prioritizing your own needs first and realizing that whatever decision you make for yourself is correct for the people around you and correct for the collective.
Yep. If you benefit from it, it's
Yes.
the right one. Yeah.
If you do not benefit from it, it's not the right decision. Because
Yeah.
that means you're making it from a place of not being aligned. You're making it because you're worried about someone else's feelings around it or someone else's emotions or how you're going to be perceived by being selfish and making this decision. But I promise you, it is not. If it feels selfish, it's probably the right decision.
So the cosmic joke for this person is they're likely a very deep people pleaser
Yep.
and overgiver. And so they have to
Yes.
learn that they have to make a decision for themselves, that what benefits and serves them first is actually what's better for everyone else. Yeah.
And again, if it feels selfish, it's probably the right decision.
Yeah.
That's how I like to tell people with an ego authority. Like, if you're feeling selfish while making the decision, like move forward. It's the right decision.
Yeah, that must feel so weird.
Yeah. But the more you practice being quote unquote selfish, then it just your our brains need proof, right?
Hmm.
Like, and the more you can keep proving to yourself that when I make a decision based on selfishness, however you want to word that,
Hmm.
it never is the wrong decision. Like, it benefits everyone as long as it's benefiting you.
Yeah.
And your brain just needs proof. So just keep doing it. Just keep proving your brain right. Okay. Self-projected. This is Senna's
Yes.
authority. And only a projector can have this authority. Sometimes it's called the G center authority. Have you heard of that one? Yeah. So it's found in projectors, and this authority comes from, like we were talking about earlier, that Senna just needs to talk things out. And it's like she could text me and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna Marco you. I just need to talk this. I just need a sounding board." It's basically just having a sounding board. She doesn't need me to give my opinion or what I would do. She just needs to talk things through with someone. And a lot of times in the verbalization of what she wants to say, you'll see this light bulb go off and she'll be like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I know what I need to do. I know what decision I need to make." I know, like, it's I love watching self-projected projectors like have these light bulb moments as they're talking things out.
Yeah. Yeah. I have many a group chats where I have my girlies where I'm like, "La, la, 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 la," and like
Yeah.
just able to process my stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps.
And it's not even like, you have to have people that you trust. You have to have people that you can go to and say, "Listen, I just need to talk this out. I don't need you to tell me what to do. This is a self-projected projector moment.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yep.
just need you to listen. That's it."
Yep. Yep.
And
Exactly.
you have to be able to tell them that. Like, otherwise people, like, it's in our human to want to give people advice,
Yep.
but that's not how Sen is coming to people. She's basically giving herself advice, but it doesn't come out until she speaks it and she has to hear it. You have to verbalize it. So a lot of projectors, like you were saying earlier, sometimes you just have to voice note yourself. The best thing is to talk it out with an actual person, even if it's online or through like text, like voice messages back and forth, but you need to actually like let it come from here because this is where the G center sits. Let it come from here and rise and come out your throat
Yep.
because you're using your throat is where it comes, is basically your authority. So that self-projected projector needs to actually use their voice, use their throat center, and speak what they want to hear back to themselves.
Yes. Yep.
Like, you might get some clarity if you're texting someone, but you're going to get even more clarity if you're actually like verbalizing it and speaking it.
Yeah. True. It's true. All right, next one.
So, the next one is a mental authority. And this one is um it's a little similar to the self-projected projector in that they need a sounding board.
Hmm.
Um, but it requires them to be in the correct environment and to talk things out with a trusted person to reach the conclusion. They're also called an environmental authority because it's that like you need to be in the correct environment with the correct people, like the correct temperature, the correct like things just need to be, your environment needs to be what you need it to be able to get the clarity.
Wow. I didn't know that one about that one.
I have
Cool.
a friend who's a mental projector and she's very like so her throat and her ajna are defined and her head is open. So she's like, if I'm in a room that's like full of clutter, I can't make a decision because it's clouding her vision and clouding like the logical part of her brain that makes decisions. And it's actually distracting her from making the correct decision. So she needs the correct environment. So like her house is immaculate all the time, which is good because that's her safe space. Like she needs to be able to go anywhere in her house to be able to make those decisions. And it's funny because I'll get texts from her that are like, "Hey, do you have a minute to talk this out?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, of course." So she'll call me and we'll talk and she'll be sitting in her house talking to me because that's her environment where she feels safe, where she needs to be. It's the correct temperature. She has her drink sitting next to her, doing whatever, but then she's talking with a trusted friend and just using me as that sounding board. So it's very similar to the self-projected projector, but like the difference is that environment needs to be like really correct for them.
Wow. Cool.
Okay, the last one is our lunar authority, which we kind of already touched on with the reflector. And it just requires them to wait that full 28-day cycle, especially on those really big decisions, and kind of go through all the authorities with the transits to like try it on and see how it feels.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, we covered the types, the strategy, the authority. So, yeah, like kind of putting it all together. Like why does knowing your type, your strategy, your authority, your design, um, like how can it help someone if they're feeling like they're living out of alignment to be able um to tap back into their autonomy and their sovereignty, their alignment and make decisions? Like, do you have any more words on like how this can help people, why it's so important?
So for one, I think it's really important to understand your aura because I think like we talked about before with maybe a manifester or even a projector, if you didn't know that about yourself and you walked into a crowd and you felt the things that a manifester or a projector felt, you would wonder like what's wrong with me? Why can't I make friends? Or why do people like they're gathered and then I walk in and everyone scatters like you think something's wrong with you. It's not you, it's your aura. It's the way you were meant to be. But then also like you were talking about how you thought maybe you'd been living as a manifesting generator and doing all the things because society teaches us to just stay busy. I feel like in the last couple of years at least within the groups that I've been within, which has been super helpful. But even as a manifesting generator, the slowdown is important for me too. Not just as a projector or a manifester but like we all need alone time, right? To be in our own aura. But like I'm meant to do things quicker and faster than you are as a projector. And if you don't know that about yourself and you're just following what society tells you to do, you're going to burn out
Yeah.
and then you're not in alignment. And if you don't know how to get yourself back into alignment, because we're all going to slip out of alignment, even if we do know our human design, if you don't know how to get yourself back there, you could stay in that loop of being out of alignment. And that
Yeah.
could be really detrimental to your health, to your career, to your relationships. Like it's this downward spiral if you can't figure out how to get yourself back out.
Yeah. And your self-esteem too, of like thinking that there's something wrong with you or that you're not like 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 why isn't it easy for you, right? Like, yeah, I think and you touched on this is just like the I want to say also like as a kid you talked about this briefly too, about like, before there's conditioning, out in the world, in the environment, whether that's school or a job or a parent or a caregiver of some sort. Like, um, oftentimes we may change parts about who we are because someone told us or taught us, or we needed to change our behavior, or how we were supposed to show up. And so we get kind of inundated with these expectations and these conditions that take us out of our true design and our true way of being, right? And so I want to just name that, like, this is so liberating to know this about yourself, and to know this about myself. Like, for me personally, I didn't get to touch too deeply on this, but like learning that I was a projector and what that meant, and like what my role kind of in the cohesive society collective, why why do I have visions? Why am I able to penetrate? Like, oh, it's because, like, in a way, like I'm a guide. I'm offering this higher wisdom, and and can see kind of like an aerial view of humanity and the collective, and like where we're going, and like what's happening, and what's, like, um understanding that about myself, and also understanding like, oh, I need to rest, and I need to take care of myself, and I need to learn how to recharge. Understanding my strategy of waiting for that invitation, understanding my authority of being self-projected projector, of how I make decisions. Like, that's a huge part of life, is to make decisions, is and it's also I'm just going to name this too, it totally interweaves what you mentioned as well, is like in relationships, when you make decisions together with another partner, right? Like, you have your decision process, and then you also have your partner's process too. And we talked about our kids and our families a little bit, but like, yeah, just how important it is to know someone else's authority in their strategy, and to accommodate and support them while you have your own, so that we can be in greater understanding of one another.
Right. And
Yes.
knowing like I make decisions fast, but I have two of my manifestors, my two oldest boys, are emotional authority. So they need time to make a decision. They're not meant to make a decision as fast as I am. So if I as the parent am like pushing them to make a decision the way I make one because I think that's how we all should make it,
Yeah.
that's not correct. And so even just in parenting, it can help so much to know even just the three things: the type, the strategy, and the authority of your loved ones can be a game changer. You don't even need to know any other nuances about their chart. And already it can change your parenting or the way you love someone or the way you like accept them and the way that maybe you help them make decisions because you know the correct questions to ask. You know that like Sen is going to need to talk it out. And maybe an emotional authority, if I ask my daughter a question, I know that she can tune in and listen. But if I ask my son a question, he needs alone time to go sit with his own emotions before he can tell me what he's decided.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have any other real life examples of either client stories or transformations that you've gotten to experience or see or witness or help others um, with understanding their design?
Um, yeah. So speaking of my two boys again, my two oldest boys, 19 and 17, they are both emotional manifestors. And I remember when they were little, like they were always quick to tears. And my husband was raised in a home that was like, you're a man, you don't cry. You're a boy, you don't cry. Like, suck it up, do the thing, wipe your tears. And through my understanding of human design, I've been able to teach him about each of our kids. And I don't go into all the nuances with him, but just those three basic things, type, strategy, and authority, have helped him to understand that my boys are emotional. Because people would ask me, like, oh, you have a mix of boys and a girl. Which ones are harder to parent? Girls are so emotional. And I'm like, no, not in my household. My boys are the emotional ones, but it's their own emotions. And I know that they're not picking up other people's emotions. So when they're having an emotional response to something, I know it's their own and I can ask them like, certain questions to help them work through whatever it is, or questions to help them make decisions. But it's been really amazing to like not only watch myself parent differently, but watch my husband parent differently to these boys that are emotional, that he was not raised that way. Like boys don't have emotions, but the way he parents them is so much different than the way he was parented because of human design and the things that we've been able to learn about our kids, and that one one thing is not correct for the other just because they live in the same household. And there's so many nuances even just in those three things. I might have three manifestors, but two are emotional authority, one's sacral. And then if you start to tie in other things like their profile lines, it totally changes who they are. They're not even the same at all. Just because they're a manifestor doesn't mean that they're like it's a blanket statement of how we're going to parent this child. So
Yeah.
just in just in the way I parent my children, it has changed so much for me.
Yeah. That's cool. What would you say to someone who feels overwhelmed or unsure of where to start? Where would you point them?
I would say so we there's so many places online that you can go to look up your human design chart for free. So I would say start there. You can go to humandesignchart.com. Um, and you just put in you're going to need to know your birth date and your birth time. There are ways around not knowing your birth time, but it's really important because remember how we talked earlier of that like blueprint of like when you take your first breath, that's when the other part of your chart is designed. And then you go back 90 days from that, and that's when the first part of your chart is imprinted.
Whoa.
That's how they get that, is the 90-day difference. Because some people will be like, well, what if you were born premature? Okay, but go back 90 days from that. Like, we start talking about destiny and all that, right? Like, you can argue that maybe that baby wasn't supposed to be born premature, but like, it's in your destiny. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many like nuances and like arguments to things like that. But you do need your birth date, your birth time, and your birthplace because that will determine where the planets were at and the alignment they were in the moment you took your first breath.
Wow.
So you need that. You can input that. And I would say only worry about type, strategy, and authority. I know Senna and I have started to touch on some of the other nuances because there's gates, there's the profile lines, there's which planet is this gate in, which centers are defined. Like there's so much. Senna and I could do like a whole 10-part series on human design. It's crazy. Um, but really just worry about your type, your strategy, and authority and the things that we've touched on. And if you start there and just start implementing those in your life, I promise you there's going to be so many aha moments, kind of like the ones Senna has had, where we've been talking about things and she's like, wait, what? If you look back, if you find out you're a projector and you start to look back and you realize, oh, I've been living as a manifesting generator. No wonder I'm so tired. Just that alone could be life-changing, even without strategy or authority. But I would say start there and start implementing those three things into your life and then just grow from there.
Awesome.
And
I
there's so many resources online. So once you find out your type, your strategy, and authority, you can start to Google like I don't know how many of your listeners are against AI or with AI, but like Chat GPT, you could put into Chat GPT because really when you put it in there for like your type, your strategy, or your authority, all Chat GPT is doing is pulling from all the resources online and like breaking it down for you into like one place. So that would be a good place to start of like I am a manifesting generator with a um, sacral authority, and my strategy is to inform and respond. What can you tell me about what can you tell me about that? And ChatGPT will go into all of its resources and pull everything out for you and create this little like, here you go.
That's
But
awesome.
getting a reading would be super helpful too. But if that's not something you're looking into doing, I would just start with those three things.
Perfect. I'll include everything that we're chatting about here too, and the website that you mentioned, and I'll put that in the description as well.
Okay.
So I kind of had this thought, like, from what you know about human design and the different inner workings of the different types, I'm kind of curious to like what is there's this question that I'm looking at, and it's like, what do you feel humanity is being asked to remember right now? But like, I'm trying to find a way to how to ask this question. It's like kind of like, what is the this movement of human design? Like, where is it going? Like, what's the bigger picture that, or maybe thought philosophy behind it? That do you know what I'm, do you know I'm having a hard
Yeah.
time asking this question, but like I feel like it's an important thing to ask.
So basically, what I'm getting from what you're saying is like, how do you feel human design is helpful in the way that the world is like moving and evolving right now?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And to me, I would say if I could sum up what human design could do for you as a person is authenticity. It's going to bring you back to your authentic self. And once you start implementing those things, and you even start small with just the first three things, it will bring you back home to yourself, who you are and who you're meant to be, because that blueprint is who you truly are and how you move about in the world. And when you come back home to that and you remember that, it's magical. It can unlock so many things.
Thank you. That's perfect. So let's talk about your work right now. And where like yeah, what are you working on right now and where are you going? You were telling me you were giving me some snippets of some things that you had. Uh, it's not even quite on the burner yet, but I want to hear, yeah, more about what you kind of have brewing.
So I host breathwork. I practice in hypnotherapy with clients. I do human design readings. I've been thinking about this way to how do I implement all three of those into like this trifecta of like one session where there's a little bit of each thing within the session where we practice a little bit of breath work. Um, we do like a little bit of human design in maybe just the basics, but like what can we release once we learn our type, our strategy and authority? What can we release through breath work and hypnotherapy to help us further ourselves faster in coming back to our true self, our authentic self from the conditioning that's happened throughout our lifetime? So, um, yeah, I think just really working with like the trifecta of those three and like implementing them into like one session instead of feeling like you have to book a separate session for each of those with me. It would be like all encompassed into one.
That sounds so powerful.
So that's what I'm working on. It hasn't like fully clicked, but it's getting there. Like I feel it like right on the verge. The other thing I was telling you about, and I need to just get with it and finish it, but true to my manifesting generator type, I started it and when it was exciting and then I like set it aside and now I'm feeling the push to like come back to it. But I started a deck for human design. And so like my thoughts on it are because there are different types and different authorities, there would be like journal prompts. So, like, you would pull something from the deck and it would say something on the front, and then you would turn it over, and on the back side, it would give you a prompt for your type or for your authority, depending on what card you pulled that day.
That's
And it would
incredible.
ask it in a way that pertained to your type or your authority. So, I have it like all the whole outline and everything done, but I just haven't put it into card form yet. So I need to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited for when it is birthed in here because that sounds so cool. Um, Well, wonderful. So we're gonna start steering to beginning to wrap up. Um, where can people find you? And yeah, if you have any offers for the people that are listening today, I can also include any of the links that you mentioned as well in the description.
Okay. My Instagram, you can find me. It's called the Beck Effect. And like Senna said, she'll put a link in there so it'll be spelled out for you. So you can find me there on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on, all the normal platforms, but um I did start a podcast called The Beck Effect, and I again put that one to the side and I haven't brought it back up again, but I'm feeling that urge to bring that back out of the storage cabinet because that's where it's been. So, and turn the heat back up on it because it mostly was just whatever was coming to mind, I was podcasting about. So it was kind of like all over the place, but just my insights. And then I would love if anyone listening to this, I'll probably have to put an expiration date on it because I know you're going to put this out there and it could be out there for like forever. But I would love anyone that listens to this from the time that you put it out, for like the next 3 months to give a 20% discount on a reading if someone wants to come have a human design reading with me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I will include that and I'll put an expiration date on that.
Yes. Thank you. Like, I would love to just keep that evergreen, but that probably wouldn't be beneficial. So we'll just put a time cap on it.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. All right. Well, as we come to close, what is maybe like one last message you'd like to give to the viewers? Maybe it's a permission slip for the collective, those that are listening. What would you like to, what's the final message you'd like to share with everyone?
So I always say I'm a huge advocate for authenticity, and I have found through my own experience and my own life that when you show up authentically, even if you're not right for someone, it's really hard for them to not accept you. You may not become best friends with that person, but when you show up as your true, authentic self and you're in alignment, it's really hard for people to not want to just accept you when you're being who you truly are meant to be. So, if human design has taught me anything, I would say it is that it can be scary sometimes to decondition and do all the things to show up authentically, but it's been the biggest game changer for me.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. I just want to say thank you, thank you so much for being here, for sharing all of your wisdom and your passion, and just so deeply appreciate you and love you so much, sister.
Thank you for having me. I loved being here.
Yeah. Well, that concludes today's podcast. Everything will be included in the description below if you'd like to connect with Beck or get a reading 20% off for the next 3 months. And you all have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.